যদি সবাই ফিরে যায়, ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা সবাই ফিরে যায়, যদি গহন পথে যাওয়ার কালে কেউ ফিরে না যায়, তবে পথের কাটা তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে একলা দলরে, তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে একলা দলরে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে। যদি আলো না ধরে, ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা আলো না ধরে, যদি ঝড় বাদলে আধার রাতে দুয়ার দেয় ঘরে, তবে বজ্রানলে আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা জলরে, আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা জলরে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে। একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো রে।
Hi guys, thank you for joining the live stream. Today we are going to discuss, finally, I've been meaning to do this for a long time now, ever since the podcast came out, Ranveer Allahbadia's return to podcasting after kind of a fuck you to anyone involved, all the people involved in hating him, in trying to assassinate him even, calling for his assassination, calling for his arrest, some of our own viewers calling for his arrest for 5 years and stuff. I have lost about how many? I've lost about 50 to 100 subscribers for defending Ranveer. And Rajarshi Nandi went on a podcast. I think it was his own YouTube channel, where a female anchor who kind of, I guess, runs the channel, Adhyatmikta, or is it called Rajarshi Nandi? Yeah. So there she brought up the topic. The answer to this situation that Rajarshi Nandi gave, obviously, was the best of all worlds. And first we will get to that podcast, okay? We will check out his reply in context to Ranveer Allahbadia, because it is in that context we have to discuss whatever then happens on Ranveer's podcast. I have watched only about 3-4 minutes of it, so I don't know exactly how much of that was further litigated on his podcast. But it was very, very, very satisfying, to say the least, and awesome, incredible to see Rajarshi Nandi's reply on this. Now, what if he had in fact taken the position of some of our crazy viewers who said he must go to jail for 5 years, some of our babas who said he must be assassinated? What would then? How would I react then? I would probably. I don't think I would be disappointed at all, because I would just conclude that, yeah, he's a religious person, he has a certain view of the world, and I am taking his view on religion only for me. I'm not going to take his view on anything and everything, economics, music taste. Who cares what Rajarshi Nandi says on economics or music and films and stuff? So, theek hai. He says also that Ranveer must go to jail or must get assassinated maybe. But he didn't. And that was absolutely incredible. Now, I would have to make this caveat that I also don't like Ranveer for everything. I have myself criticized him on my live streams for specifically one particular thing, which I of course never do, and I think no one must ever do, which is my main hatred towards this concept of Sanatan economics, which is something supposed to be supposedly opposed to Western style capitalism, which is you use Sanskrit terms, ancient names, concepts, words, terminology, lexicon to further your bullshit idea or your religiosity, to just as an argument. How religious you are has nothing to do with the merits of your argument. It must never be that way. For example, some of my liberal friends, not leftist friends, but obviously as anti Hindutva as anybody else, as any leftist or Muslim. Some of them have said that you are new to this. What do you even know about Hinduism? What have you read? What scripture do you know? What makes you any sort of an authority to talk about this? Then I had some friends tell me that I like classical music. You are a metalhead. You are not even that in tune with Indian culture. So I have more of a say on Hindutva than you, because none of them understand what Hindutva is. And Ranveer made that same goddamn mistake with Sandeep Balakrishna. First of all, he always, whether it's his actual persona or not, he always comes across as the cute, nice beta guy who's always asking the questions, full of humility. Only on Sandeep Balakrishna's podcast, and moreover, with a guy like Sandeep Balakrishna, he had the galls to say, I have so many Muslim friends. I don't see any problem with Muslims in India. And I am the most Hindu person I know around me because I do so much of Bhairav sadhana. He used his Bhairav Upasana as a trump card, as a religion card to win an argument with a guy, with such an informed guy like Sandeep Balakrishna. And on that day, Sandeep Balakrishna just smiled, which also amazed me a lot, because I would think Sandeep Balakrishna was also going to destroy him in that debate, or destroy his confidence and stuff. Sandeep Balakrishna didn't. He just smiled like an elderly brother that, okay, you are just a kid, you don't know what the fuck you're saying as of now. Maybe you will understand someday. I gained a lot of respect for Sandeep Balakrishna that day. What I don't hate Ranveer for is the other stuff that people say, that he's so just stupid and not informed. Well, since he is not that informed, since he has that inquisitive mind, therefore he comes up with those questions which make so many palatable conversations for such a large audience. तो भाई एडुकेटेड पॉडकास्टर होता कुशल के तरह, तो उसका भी 1 लाख 2 लाख सब्सक्राइबर लेके बैठा रहता. You have to remember that India is not a very educated country. Therefore, Ranveer. Therefore, Kushal Mehra is not the biggest podcaster in the country. He will never be. He eats beef to hell with his sadhana. No, he doesn't. Sandeep Balakrishna was laughing, yeah. I like Rami Desai's argument of public morality, though. No. She did not articulate it, I think, to my satisfaction at least. Because anything can be public morality. Because, we can't get into that debate right now, really. CSK, if you can play guitar, does that mean it will be easy to switch to sitar and veena? Knowing any instrument means you will have a little easier time with another instrument. So in that sense, probably. But sitar and veena is about 100 times tougher physically than sitar because of the way, because of the physics of the instrument. So it's going to be insanely tough anyway. Maybe 5-10% easier for a guitarist. If Ranveer's clip wouldn't have been leaked, there wouldn't be such a hue and cry. Yeah. Here, I must also make the caveat that I don't like Ranveer's. Didn't like that joke. I don't think that was meant to be a joke. It was just set for shock value. I don't like any Indian comedian, so no one must dare to even lecture me on what is comedy, what is acceptable comedy. Just because you have freedom of speech doesn't mean ... Just because you are a comedian doesn't mean ... I don't think anyone is a comedian in India because none of them are fucking funny. Only comedians in the world who are funny are Americans. I will die on this hill. With all these caveats, let's first check out what Rajarshi Nandi first said on his own podcast about Ranveer. That was brilliant. आनंद तुम तमिल ब्राह्मण हो, सब नहीं है, उतना मत expect करो. Guys, remember, sociology, especially looking at caste as satires and taking in Pierre Bourdieu, René Girard, Max Weber, etc., it's sort of a hidden key to understanding Indian society. These days, repeatedly, in multiple conversations with multiple people, Mr. Sociologist and I have astounded people by guessing people's castes, including Anand Sridhar here. He once joined our audience interaction podcast, and by talking to him for about 2 minutes, I guessed his caste. Okay, I asked him, "Are you a Tamil Brahmin?" And he said yes. he said that, oh yeah, although I don't really like to promote myself that way and stuff, but yeah. So let me tell you this hilarious story. Few days back, Madam Political Scientist, in a hangout between me, Madam Political Scientist, and Mr. Sociologist, she was showing pictures of a yeah, PhD Singh taking a shot every time he doesn't says caste shit. So she was showing the pictures of a presidency pass out who always was opposed to marriage and stuff, having kids. She wanted to live his free, who wanted to live her free life, etc. And which reminds me of Jordan Peterson's daughter's famous quote that you don't want to have kids so that you don't lose your freedom to do what? Cocaine on the weekends. So it was something of that sort. So Madam Political Scientist wanted to show that instead of getting married and having kids, what is this woman really doing with her life? Let's see how significant her life is. Then I see that she is trying to be sort of a vlogger on Instagram, sort of an influencer, but with just captions and good aesthetic pictures and stuff. Now, the way the captions were written, the word choices, the topic, the context, etc., I saw that it was a little backdated. It was like stuff that would be cool 5-10 years back. And I immediately said, either she's not Brahmin Boito Kaisto, or if she is a Brahmin Boito Kaisto, she's not from Kolkata. Because proximity to power / proximity to legitimacy means only Kolkata's Brahmin Boitos Kaistos will be the Bhadralok class, who are very distinct, and everyone else in the state plays catch up with them. No matter how much they pretend to hate people of Kolkata, Babus, etc. We hate Bhadraloks, but everyone deep down wants to emulate. That's just the nature of humanity. And she corroborated. And in the same way, I guessed Anand's caste as well. Okay, let's now find out Rajarshi Nandi's opinion on Ranveer on his own podcast. Where's his own channel? This is his own channel, right? Oh, it got verified. Okay, this doesn't seem to be on this channel. Okay. Where's it? Here. Yeah, it's on his podcast only. The thumbnail wasn't anything related to that.
Thank you so much for making time. There's a lot of sound, noise pollution, and a lot of things happening on social media about Ranveer Allahbadia, this controversy. So I've got a few questions here, sir. Thank you very much again.
Nina, which one? This one or Ranveer's one? I haven't watched Ranveer's one as of now. I have watched about 3-4 minutes of it. This one I have watched.
Your time. So moving on very quickly to the issues that I've taken bits and pieces from social media. People are asking, is Ranveer your shishya?
Okay, so thank you for having this conversation, and Jai Bharat Baba, Jai Matara, Jai Kamakhya. It also gives me an opportunity to clarify certain ideas that people have. So I don't have any shishyas. Okay, I never had. At this till now, I don't have. In future, I cannot say. But then it depends on if I ever get an inspiration to have shishyas. Then, but no, I don't. At this moment, I don't have any shishyas. So Ranveer is not a shishya. So I meet him maybe once a year. When I have to shoot certain recordings, maybe for 2 to 3 days at the max, and then I'm hardly in touch with him. The sadhanas that I tell people to do, there are thousands of people who do those sadhanas, and it's been almost 3 years now, where I've been in public, and even before that, there are people who have been doing it. So these are basically things which are very generic, which can be done by just about anybody with a certain degree of faith and shraddha. Shraddha is the right word on the process, and so does that make them my disciple? I don't know. I don't like to use the word guru and disciple. Those are heavy words. There are a lot of responsibilities. The reason I say that is because so in these 3 years, there are thousands and thousands who have done this. I get innumerable emails from people doing that. So I'm not going to, spoon feed or what is that guy doing from morning till evening? Whom are you meeting? What are you talking about? Are you paying your taxes? That's not my responsibility. You are an adult. You have to use your mind, man, buddhi, etc.
I like this way of thinking so much. Even though, sort of an analogy here, even though Never Back Down 1 is one of my favorite movies of all time, but Never Back Down 2, at least in this one aspect, Michael Jai White as an MMA trainer did something very interesting and beautiful, which was, I think, better than Never Back Down. The At least as the character played by Michael Jai White, better than the MMA trainer character in Never Back Down 1, which was in Never Back Down 1, that MMA trainer had a bunch of rules and stuff, okay, that you can't use MMA in this situation, that situation, you have to always train in the gym at this time, you have to always, no one's supposed to discipline you. You have to always fight inside the ring, never outside. Never Back Down 2, Michael Jai White as the MMA trainer says, I'm going to teach you some skills. Do whatever the fuck you want with it. I don't care. Just pay me my dues. I'm okay. Okay. Rajarshi Nandi is kind of pointing out that this is how it is. It doesn't mean I become your mother. I'm not going to baby you all through your life on everything.
That nature has given you, you do accordingly. At the max, I will give you those sadhanas, which in the context of the times is going to uplift your consciousness. Rest you practice, you follow the discipline, that's it. Which is precisely why
Bandopadhyay on leftists being uneducated or Ram not being Ram being outsider and stuff, that stuff. Then yeah, on the Bengali live stream day again.
Don't call myself a guru. So in this framework, Ranveer is one of the people among the thousands of people who perhaps does some amount of those sadhanas. Whether he does the full thing or not, no. Even the full thing is not done because I have a team which guides people who are more dedicatedly connected to the sadhanas. So we do certain Vishesh Upasanas on certain days of different deities. And in that, there is Ranveer is not connected to that. Pretty much many other people are not connected to that, which is okay. So to clarify, yes, the last time I'd met him was probably 6-7 months ago, last year, somewhere for a shoot. After that, I have been busy with my creation.
Is he wearing a black t-shirt absolutely similar to mine inside this kurta?
The Bhairava temples roaming around. So it's not something that I'm in close contact with him. So let this be no doubt about this, that yes, he does some sadhanas, but he's not a disciple. No one is a disciple.
Ji, sir. Sir, if I may ask, आपका क्या take है on this controversy?
Right.
Like everybody is asking on social media. I was just going through that. Sir, kuch boliye, sir, kuch boliye. So
right. The first thing is that there is, let's say that there is no doubt that it is disappointing. Okay, so it's disappointing at multiple levels. It's disappointing because if you have been instrumental as a public figure in somehow or the other resurfacing an interest in deity upasanas in dharma and sanatana dharma across the land, so there is a responsibility that you bear, and you cannot bear that very lightly. You cannot behave in the manner, you cannot speak in the manner, you cannot be not conscious of who you are and where you are and whom you associate with. These are part of the process. So yes, there is no doubt that there is a certain degree of disappointment in the behavior, and let's mince no words about it. It's a terrible, it's very crass. I had seen the clip. It's extremely crass, and that's perhaps maybe teenager or pre-teenage boys speak like that. It's not expected of somebody who has a certain a certain degree of expected if they have that maturity, that age, etc. But one more thing I would like to say, that speaking of disappointments, right from the time when I entered into the spiritual field, very quickly I saw all sorts of behavior of all sorts of people, even those who appear as gurus and people who come in certain religious garbs, wearing certain dresses with certain titles. And what I figured very quickly, and I am immensely
coming in different clothes. Okay, again, a very important point. One kind of I'm always harping on. The easy way to fool people: just wear saffron. Okay, just use a bunch of Sanskrit words, then sell people socialism.
Grateful to Ma Kamakhya for having put me through those experiences where I realized that everybody has a shadow. Some people hide the shadow. Some people are foolish enough to go into some show and make a fool out of themselves and make their shadow public. But everybody has a shadow, which is why right from day one, if I'm guiding somebody properly, like the core group of people whom I guide them over the years, I tell them that have less faith on human beings, have more faith on the deities. If you do that, you're safe. Human beings are going to disappoint you. Aaj nahi to kal kabhi na kabhi hone wala hai. It has happened for 5,000 years. It's going to happen for the next 5,000 years. And there is
lighter. I don't know. I think Caste. Nandi surname. I don't think it's Brahmin.
no way you can escape this, because the
Are Varun Dev, sorry, I forgot. I would not be able to do it today anyway. Tomorrow probably.
the condition of the human consciousness is flawed and ignorant. Pehla cheez, the quicker you realize that, the safer you are from disappointments. So I'm disappointed with what Ranveer did, but I have seen much greater disappointments from people who came with a much larger aura and pretension of grandeur and guruhood and whatever, etc., until I found what all dark shadows they carry along with themselves. So,
And how many people went after them? How many people called for 5 years of jail time for them? How many people called for assassinations of those people? How many Hindus did? Maybe commies did. Maybe Muslims did.
yeah, it's disappointing, but that's how life is.
Lighter. Oh, by Varna, you mean in the modern sense? Yeah, then to definitely Brahmin.
Such is life. Another question.
Jatis cannot be mapped onto Varnas. Remember that. That is an absolute sham. That's a scam.
There seemed to be a very small population, very tiny, but I still want to run this question by
Yes,
you since we are
please.
here. And that is, we've got this beautiful Bhairav Baba sitting here. People have said, is this controversy somewhere related?
That's the best idol of. Well, shouldn't be any hierarchy of quality or beauty aesthetics of Bhairav Baba temple idols, but this one I personally really like. This is an absolutely beautiful one available on Amazon.
Related to Bhairav Japa.
Okay, so
Correlation kya hai, sir?
Right. Good that you asked. So first of all, let me say that anybody who thinks that specific kind of disappointment or any trouble in life or any kind of difficulty, कोई भी आप साधना कर रहे हो, भैरव साधना कर रहे हो, किसी का भी साधना कर रहे हो, उसके लिए हो रहा है, तो पहला चीज है कि आपका माइंड में there is this itself is the root of superstition. इसी को कहते हैं superstition. ठीक है, क्योंकि you don't have any reason to believe that, but you do because your mind is gripped with a certain degree of fear कि कहीं ना कहीं आप इस बात में आते हो ये सोच के कि नहीं मेरा सब कुछ अच्छा होने वाला है. सबका तो 24/7 365 days a year for 50-60 years all the time अच्छा कभी हो ही नहीं सकता है. I mean, it reminds me when I was in Mumbai, there used to be a gentleman who lived close by. He was a very good Vedic scholar and Pandit, and he knew the Gita by heart, 700 verses by heart. Beautifully used to recite. People used to come to him for all kinds of Vedic yagyas and all that. And then suddenly, some disappointment hit his life, personal life, and it turned so painful and difficult that दुनिया में शायद ऐसा कोई मंदिर नहीं है, ऐसा कोई दरगाह नहीं है जहाँ पे वो नहीं गया. Here's the guy who knows the Vedas, who actually knows the Gitas, and people used to look up to him. Should I have concluded from it that the Vedic verses and the Gita does not work? That's why he's suffered that. That would be stupid to do. If you do that, it's stupid. So this fellow, so Ranveer, let's specifically talk about him.
Yes.
To my knowledge, he started doing Bhairava Japa. It's been 3 years now. In 3 years, actually what has happened is that his name, fame, position, power, etc., all things have increased, shot up, right? If there used to be at all, let's assume for a moment that there is some problem with it, then something would have happened maybe immediately, something would have happened right at the beginning. So all these positive things are cancelled out, but एक 3 साल बाद एक negative है, 300 साल बाद भी negative हो सकता है. उसका मतलब थोड़ी है कि आपके जब के लिए हुआ है.
There's a small population, like just very few, and I didn't really catch the drift why they would even suggest that, because it's very surprising.
My suggestion is
Yes, Shishir. Remember, Shishir, I don't know how old of a viewer you are of our channel. We once discussed a paper by either Sumit Guha, I think Sumit Guha, yeah. It was a paper on the Jajmani system of Maharashtra, okay. So he is one of those people, very, very credentialed researchers, academics, who is right now a professor at the University of Austin, whose work you can use to prove that not everything in India had something to do with Hinduism, things like Jajmani system or caste. Now, he was pointing out when people from this and that Varna or Jati have to do stuff which is not supposed to be done by their Varna or Jati, they are writing their own Shastras as manuals and stuff. Now, in fact, in the end, they try to attach it to Vedas and look for justifications for it. And in the end, even actually admit that proximity to power is everything. He says, that one of those texts say that in Sanskrit Marathi, okay, it says that just like you need to read something important in the light of a diya, in the same way it needs to be read in the light of Vedas. So yeah, therefore I am attaching it to Vedas. Someone was asking, Lighter was asking, what varnas are Caste, Niranjan? No one can know. Varnas cannot host every jati uniformly, properly, and especially not all across the country. So Kaistas, there are Kshatriya Kaistas and stuff. So see, bureaucracy was at one point done just by Brahmins. Then there was a distinction of Kaistas. So they served the Brahmins who were even senior bureaucrats. Okay, so they are like first secretaries and stuff. So how are you going to map it onto Varnas? So jati mapping onto Varna is a scam. Therefore, you must not listen to far left academics on caste, nor should you listen to even remotely a right winger on caste. You must only and only listen to Mr. Sociologist, me, Declan Quigley, Nicholas Dirks, Sumit Guha, Dayabhuti Roy, etc. Max Weber.
The thing is, my idea is, I've seen that two ideas are there. One is that there is a certain degree of people who approach upasanas with the idea of there is a constant material gain that has to come. That's not the right way, and that does not. And I mean, for a moment, let's assume, I mean, from the internet and all that, there is very famous Vaishnava sampradayas who do a lot of the Mahamantra. Now, I am not vouching for the veracity or otherwise of it, but if you do a Google, there are so many other stories that come out, so many other scandals and things like that, negative, positive. Itne sare aate hai. So should we then conclude it's because you are taking Krishna's name, that is why all these things are happening?
Nahin.
That would be absolutely stupid and superstitious. So my point is, anybody who approaches sadhana with this kind of a superstitious mindset is going to get disappointed someday or the other. It's not about this happened to Ranveer, that happened to myself, tomorrow that. So you have this weakness in the mind that you assume that because I'm worshipping a deity, so never is going to any negative thing happen. Ye to ho hi nahi sakta hai. In fact, in the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is one of the most crest jewels of Dharma, which is one of the Bhagavad Purana, in the 10th canto, where we have the biography or the story of Bhagavan Krishna coming up. He says a very beautiful thing, that when he decides to take somebody to the highest realms, the first thing he does is remove everything from that person. So there is going to be absolute material negative onslaught on the individual when nature decides that you have to be taken higher up. Why? That is because the human ego is flawed. It is always flawed. It does not matter if बैठ के 5 घंटा मंत्र जप कर रहे हो, 10 घंटा, 20 घंटा. Till the time the consciousness changes, and the change of consciousness is not so easy. If it changes, then you become a saint. Saint is लाखों करोड़ों उपासक में 0.1% of the capacity to become a saint. Then the consciousness has changed. Others are trying to change themselves. When that happens, before that happens, the divine, in the form of whether it's Bhairava, whether it's Krishna, whether it's Durga, whether it's Hanuman, whether it's Ganesha, is going to rip apart everything from your ego, so that you are ready to be rebuilt from scratch. Only then you can be divine. And this is, mind you, the sweetest of deities saying that I'm going to destroy everything.
By the way, I just lost about 15 viewers for saying don't listen to right wingers on Caste. Maybe I'm going to lose a bunch of subscribers for saying this as well. And from now on, whenever any viewer of mine is going to watch this live stream, even later on, they're going to unsubscribe. Great.
When I decide that I have to take you up. So by that logic, you should, if you're scared कि मुझे material गड़बड़ हो सकता है, या क्यों मैं ये जब कर रहा हूँ मेरे को ये क्यों, तो मत करो. कोई बोला थोड़ी है तुमको करने का, जबरदस्ती नहीं है. हाँ.
Sir, it's a very tiny population. I personally, I don't know, I could be wrong. मुझे लगा that there was just an element of jealousy. So I think
Nice.
Jealousy is a very human factor.
yes.
So whenever
नहीं करना है मत करो. This is the beauty of it all. अरे किसने तुमको ठेका दिया है कि करना ही होगा, और फिर लोग बोलेंगे कि इम्पोज किया जा रहा है हमारे ऊपर, डज तंत्र वर्क एंड ऑल. तो भाई करके देखो, कुछ इफेक्ट लगा तो लगा, नहीं लगा तो नहीं लगा.
person is in the limelight. In fact, it's, now you mention it, it's very interesting. 7 months ago, when I had last met Ranveer, 7 months perhaps, yeah, around that time, I say during a conversation of a recording, I had told him that, when you are in the limelight, so 20% people are going to hate you. That's the nature of limelight. Okay, there's nothing anybody can do about it. And of that 20%, there will be 10 to 15% who will be so jealous and envious that they will go to the extent of trying prayogas on you. And that is the way the world is. There's no point pretending to be a turtle or getting your head inside your shell and believing that सब अच्छा नहीं है. दुनिया ऐसा है, दुनिया है ऐसा. तुम अब, if you're smart enough, you take precautions for it. If you're not, you don't. And I don't spoon feed people. I'll just tell you up till this point. I have told various people. So I myself.
This is the anti-socialist way of looking at the world, at least when it comes to economics. Of course, he might not have thought on economics enough to say these things for economics as well. But why I like Rajarshi Nandi is that this way of thinking is what I prefer.
No, because I have faced various kinds of attacks.
Not spoon feeding people, not holding their hands all the way for all their lives, not making sure everything is under control. Okay, all of that. Let things happen.
From people over the last 1.5 years, especially when the Kamakya case started.
Oh, yes.
So that's why I keep myself. Why do you think I go to Tarapit so often? She's the one with the kharga that protects me from all sorts of ye duniya ka koi bhi kuch hai sabko. She's not only protects me, and she gives it back to them with double and triple interest. So my point is, if you are in a public life, let's be very smart. And if you're doing all this kinds of podcasts, you're meeting with important ministers and this and that, there is a very vicious form of jealousy that will come from people, and that jealousy is also a part of that hatred and anger that he's facing. It's coming out in the self-righteousness that you see, self-righteous hatred. Part of it is because of jealousy and envy. So if you had not protected your...
kya genius word choice hai. There's a bit of self-righteousness in that hatred for Ranveer because of jealousy, because of Isha, and which is why communism and socialism will never go away. And Jyoti Basu, Mamata Banerjee, Karl Marx are not alone to blame for it. Okay, these are inherent human flaws. The first step is to recognize that you might have that kind of a problem
yourself. And mind you, nature gives you a certain degree of wisdom, certain mind, body, a rationality to think. There is no spoon feeding in nature. So if you go on top of a mountain and shout that why am
this is so Greek philosophy, the naturalism and stuff.
I getting screwed? Nature is not going to answer that.
No, sir.
Unless you actually work hard towards it. If you work hard, then nature will come to your door and tell you कि ये चीज change करना है. So there is a self effort and responsibility. You have to be responsible.
By everything he's saying are the core tenets of libertarianism. Negative rights, not positive rights. Free market, competition. These are the things it's based on. और उसको बोलेंगे वेस्टर्न स्टाइल कैपिटलिज्म है, सनातन में ये सब नहीं होता. सनातन कहता है ... बोल के कुछ भी इंटीग्रल ह्यूमनिज्म और सोशलिज्म बोल दो.
Have to think why you are here, what you're doing, what role you have been giving, what you should avoid and what you should. Yama and niyama. Yama and niyama involves company also. That's very important. That's what got him into the trouble. You have to know which company to be in, which company to avoid. If that judgment is somewhere wrong, right, and there is a sense of overconfidence, let's put it this way. If you have been successful in something, you get a little overconfident. It's just a time when nature will pull the rug from under your feet to give you a reality check. Okay.
That's it.
No reality check is bad. If you have the right attitude, you can climb from any depth. Anybody can do that. I have faced various kinds of issues in life. And there's anybody says that मैं साधना करता हूँ और कभी life में कुछ problem हुआ नहीं है, तो 100% झूठ बोल रहा है. हो ही नहीं सकता. It's impossible. I mean, the greatest of saints, if you read the biographies, have faced so many difficulties. So why should you and I not face difficulties?
So yours was a bit different, of course. Completely different, because you had purposes and goals, and there were people trying to stop you, and we've seen the videos and the phases. But moving on, people are asking again, bits and pieces again. Would you be associating with Ranveer in the future?
First thing is that before answering this question, let me say that he has to self-reflect at the moment. This is a good opportunity. As I say, there is no mistake, no error from which a person cannot recover provided he acknowledges that there is some change that is needed. In doing so, you go inwards, you work on your own consciousness, you work on your own sadhana,
Yeah.
you apologize to the deity. Because remember, at the end of the day, it is only the deity's judgment that is important. Dunya ka judgment mein koi matlab nahi hai. It's absolutely useless. People who judge, people who are judged, both of them are ignorant. It's only the deity's judgment that is important. See, why I say this, and I'm talking from my perspective.
Ji, sir.
When I had, to give an example,
Sorry to interrupt, Rajarshi Nandi, but Anand is pointing out nature is never absolute, and hence Anand needs just criticism of Christian morality and his somewhat love for Hinduism and Buddhism, mainly Hinduism. That absolutism is a pathology of the mind. A sane mind is okay with irony.
when I started the Kamakya case, pretty much everybody around me, first of all, left me, and then they told me ki ye ho nahi sakta, ye bakwas hai. They tried everything to stop me. If I was so bothered about what people were saying, then the case would not have happened. But today, after 1 year, what has happened is that the government has been forced to acknowledge, due to the verdict of the Honorable High Courts, that there is a certain stream of water which is sacred, which means that every plan they had made had to be redone. And they are doing that, which is precisely the point which I had when the case started, that this place, Kshetra, needs to be protected. You cannot just bulldoze into it and do things. Okay. My point is, that time there was a tremendous amount of opposition, tremendous amount of people who say that nahi karna hai, and I know all sorts of characters, some of them pretending to be spiritual, by the way, who had never even stepped into Kamakya, were like giving running commentaries to delude people that nahi ye bahut acha cheez ho raha hai, ye bahut badhiya ho raha hai. That's because
Like pretending to be spiritual, this is such a big problem, and I know leftists point it out all the time, so no one cares about it anymore, right wingers. And right wingers these days, who have the, let's say, positionality in society to say these things, won't say it because it's acha paisa chal raha hai. I can't say these things because I wear a black t-shirt and I don't have a mustache and I have a metal guitar behind me. So thank God, at least Rajarshi Nandi is saying it.
they thought that they'll get some advantages from governments and government agents and all that. So that's a greater hypocrisy than any foolishness this fellow has done, if you ask me. It's 100 times more hypocrisy. But then we are a country of hypocrites. So a person who makes a mistake, person who says something terrible, for example, like this guy said, if you realize it, if you apologize to the deity, if you work hard on yourself, you can recover. But if you're a hypocrite, you can never recover. You will never recover in 1,000 years. You are doomed till eternity, because you are.
I honestly, I'm pausing it because what I'm about to say is in context with this. I honestly thought Ranveer was not really going to recover. I honestly thought he would lose a bunch of subscribers because I guess people are not that hypocritical, but I guess they are, because who has really unsubscribed? His views, his podcast with Rajarshi Nandi already has as much view as it would have received a year back, and he had the balls to do it. He was back with a bang with Rajarshi Nandi. Now next is Sushant Sareen. Nothing has changed for him, except obviously the troubles he faced. But for his channel, I mean, nothing has changed. It's taken off from right where it had paused. That is true recovery from such a gigantic, horrifying disaster, when significant people from the right wing calling for your assassination or 5 years of jail and stuff, or ending his career altogether. फकर इतना अब राजस्थान नंदी के पॉडकास्ट में भी गाली दिया क्या? इतना अगर गर्मी चर्बी है तुम लोगों में, तो भाई इतना चर्बी आज तक दिखाना चाहिए था. बहुत तरह के लोग हैं, ठीक है, जिन पे इतना आयर पॉइंट करना था. तो एक मिल गया, एक अमीर पॉडकास्टर, थोड़ा भोला भाला सा दिखता है, थोड़ा स्टूपिड बातें करता है, उनके ऊपर आज हम दिखाएंगे कितने बड़े हम हैं. और बिना गाली दिए बात करना कितना कठिन है.
Hypocrite, you lie to yourself. Somebody who lies to himself kills his own self. One who kills his own self will never recover.
So you had once mentioned in your podcast that if you lie to yourself, you will never get Bhairava.
Never get anybody. It's very easy to lie to oneself. To nature, you cannot lie. Nature can see through who you are and what you do, and nature can see what kind of a shadow you carry. Okay, what is who you are, what mistakes you do in public, and what mistakes you do in private, and how you pretend to be what you're not. It's only nature who knows, and the right time will give you the, with interest, it will come to you. This is the first law of nature. So coming to the question,
Would you?
there, let a time period pass for him to recover from this, to change himself if he can. Number one point. Number two, at this moment, even without this controversy breaking out, I did not have any specific intent of going there, because my focus over the last 6 months have been in creation of the Bhairava temples, for which I've been traveling to South, to Gujarat, Tarapet and various other places, collecting resources, talking to the architects and all that. At the same time, remember one thing, that an individual with a platform is just a medium. Okay, a medium does not determine whether the message that is passed across right, wrong, or anything for that matter. A medium is just a medium. Nature can use anybody as a medium to do its bidding, what it wants to be done. It can pick up any individual from anywhere, because only nature knows that what you did in your past lives, what are the samskaras you carry, and where are you going. Nobody else knows that. So nature can pick any individual. Let's give an example here for people to understand. So if you read the Ramayana, that's a very common example. So today we live in a time where Ravana is eulogized as somebody great. But if you read the Ramayana, he is defined very categorically as a serial rapist. Okay, a man who is greatly knowledgeable, but of the worst moral character. You cannot have a worse character than this. So he goes and kidnaps somebody else's wife. I mean, and then he has been doing all these things for a long time. So he's a man of the lowest moral character. There's no doubt about it, to the extent that we celebrate the death of Ravana till today. And yet it is the same Ravana who composed the Shiva Tandav Stotra, which is played in Kashi even now. So my question is that if you are so...
If Ramayana was a reality, that should have explained to you that people can write the Shiva Tandav Sutram and be a bad person anyway. If it was a fiction, then it's supposed to be a message to society that yes, a guy who writes Shiva Tandav Sutram can be a bad person. And somehow people didn't get the memo.
righteous, you should stop playing that. So if a corrupt instrument, and no instrument is perfect, by the way, if a corrupt instrument says 2 + 2 = 4, it does not mean that 2 + 2 = 4 becomes invalid. In spite of that, I understand that this has been a very traumatic, emotionally difficult period for a lot of people, and I empathize with that. I understand that. I have been through a very lot of ups and downs, so it's kind of let's say that I have the ability to digest a lot of things which many people cannot. And so there's no pressure for them that they should associate with this individual. They're perfectly free not to do so, so far as I am concerned. But this in no way reflects on the sadhana. This in no way reflects on the knowledge transmission that happened through the many spiritual people who came there. I mean, it's you have to be absolutely ridiculous and devoid of any rationality to believe that the other great spiritual people, or whatever knowledge transference that happened there, becomes invalidated just because he makes a stupid and absolutely crass kind of an error. So these two are separate issues, I think. At the end, I feel that we will pass through very difficult times in the coming 3 years. Each individual should focus on their own sadhana and develop themselves, because today it is with that guy, tomorrow it could be with you, it could be with anybody. Nature is the best accountant. Nature knows what shadows you carry. Nature knows who makes a fool out of himself in a far graver crime in the privacy of his life and then pretends to be somebody great. Nature is aware कि किसको कहाँ पे गिराना है, and everybody will be accounted for everything. Nobody escapes. So focus on oneself, develop.
Jordan Peterson has said this countless times over the years, 2016-17 onwards, up until now, in his speeches. Nobody ever gets away with anything.
Himself, have faith on Bhairava. Do more japa of Bhairava. He is the deity who can, if anybody at all, he is the one who can pick you up from a drain and put you and make you into a saint. He is the one who can go down right into hell and pick you up from there.
Sir, he's done that to so many of us.
Yeah, I know that
it's beyond. There are some people who have said, I read about a few of them, that old videos remove kar dijiye.
नहीं, उसका तो सवाल ही नहीं पैदा होता. Same, the logic that I said.
Logic, yeah.
So, I mean, why do you play the Shiva Tandav Stotra till now if it's composed by Ravana? Okay. every day, and that's not just a day that goes in Kashi without that being blared out of the air, and people feel very devotional upsurge, which is natural. So the transmission of knowledge is perfectly valid even if the instrument is imperfect. That is because if you look at from a very transcendental point of view, there is no perfect instrument. Then
Right.
everybody should take moan breath. That is not going to happen. So therefore, there
Oh my God, someone actually said this. Anand, do you remember the name of that pre-Socratic Greek philosopher? Where are my philosophy notes? Oh my God, it's right far off. There was a philosopher who said that, see, there's a saying in English, no, that no one ever gets into the same river twice, because let's say you got into a river right now, there was a specific chemical composition, there was a specific count of waves and stuff, and the next moment you step into it, that's a completely different river, because the entire structure of the river has changed. It is still a thing carrying a bunch of water, but everything is different inside that water. Okay, now there was a very ancient pre-Socratic Greek philosopher who took it to a bit of an extreme and said that, see, words don't matter. No names ever matter, because nothing you describe for one moment with a word applies in the very next moment, because something or the other has changed in that thing or in that person, whether it's his age, his cells, his thoughts. Everything is changing, constantly changing in every moment. So just shut up. Just don't say anything, because whenever you say something, discuss something, describe something, you're probably getting it wrong, because of by the next moment it has changed already.
will be imperfect instruments. The world is imperfect. Even then, through these imperfections, we become more realistic and we develop a devotion towards the deities more than human beings. This is the incident of all things, and I've told this many times to people, even during various recordings of podcasts and all that. Start to develop faith on deities more than on human beings. Deities, if you come close to them, they will not disappoint you. Human beings, one day or the other, they'll disappoint you. That's taken for granted, because humans are weak, we are frail. Every human being is ignorant, somewhere or the other. Everybody is a pretender, which is a greater crime than any kind of third class joke that you may say. So if you are a pretender, one day or the other,
Oh, I can't really comment or analyze things he's saying. All I'll have to do is cheer him on.
more than on human beings. Deities, if you come close to them, they will not disappoint you. Human beings, one day or the other, they'll disappoint you. That's taken for granted, because humans are weak, we are frail. Every human being is ignorant, somewhere or the other. Everybody is a pretender, which is a greater crime than any kind of third class joke that you may say. So if you are a pretender, one day or the other, nature is going to come with this balance sheet and take your skin alive. Yeah, whether somebody is there to cheer or whether somebody is there to support you, at least if you fall, and if you are penitent, if your consciousness is clear, and if you're repentant, you have a chance to go up. We have so many examples in dharma of people who have done far greater crimes and then transformed themselves. There is nothing called a permanent. Ours is not religion which says that you are permanently barred from anything. You can fall, and there is no depth from which you can rise up, because every saint has a past, as they say, and every sinner has a future.
All these questions.
And this feeling of repentance is the most important thing. Ben Shapiro once said on a podcast that when you go to sleep at night, what keeps you up at night? The thought of how many people wronged you, or which people wronged you, or do you stay awake at night thinking how many people you wronged, or what mistakes you made in the day?
You've the questions that most of us have had, you've clarified them beautifully, sir. It's just that people love Ranveer to a great extent. They want to forgive. I think the youngsters mostly, they're like, Ranveer bhaiya, Ranveer bhaiya. I think they are very disappointed, as you said. And how would you advise all of us to just handle this issue, this emotional उसने ऐसे कहा कैसे कह सकता है, this whole emotional outburst? How can we just be a little more steady and cool?
No, the outburst was not from people calling him Ranveer Bhaiya. It was from uncles.
It's good, no? That's a reality check. The best way you grow up mature is that the quicker nature gives you reality checks. So it comes to the same point. You focus on your sadhana, okay? You realize that people are flawed. Everybody is flawed. Everybody is an instrument. Number one. let me also take this opportunity to say that the reaction that he faced, obviously he did not expect it. The drumming down, the various kinds of cancellations or whatever else has happened, that is, I'm sure, I saw the the apology video and etc. It takes a toll. It takes a toll on anybody for that matter. But the later hounding that he's facing is completely irrational and makes zero sense. There is not a single person who has not made mistakes, and this is when the emotions cool down, 1 month, 2 months down the line, when you look at this, you'll see, okay, he made a terrible mistake, he made a fool out of himself. He's a bigger fool than anybody I know of. But is it really a murder? Is it really a great crime? I mean,
Now, what do we say about people who are calling for 5-year jail time for this guy and assassinations of this guy? What about them now? Are we going to forgive them? Are we never going to bring that up? Are they free from criticism from here on afterwards?
look at the amount of things that are happening in parliament and other places.
There's more rubbish
Yeah,
content
yeah.
on social media.
And instead of
Yes.
all that, there are, like, I don't know how many states have filed FIR. This is a dark comedy, if you ask me. This is a greater dark comedy than
Yes,
anything
we're
I've
all
seen.
very surprised. I mean,
This makes no sense to anybody. And today they go after him, tomorrow they'll come after you, tomorrow they can come after anybody. Because when the
By Milton Friedman, everything he's saying are core tenets of libertarianism, bro. भाई यही तो हम बोल बोल के थक गए हैं. लॉ में प्रेसिडेंस सेट मत करो पॉजिटिव राइट्स का, या फिर लॉ में कोई फसाड ही ना रखो. अल्टीमेटली एवरीथिंग इज इम्परफेक्टली अप्लाइड, बट remember everything you are doing to someone today will be done to you tomorrow, probably. कौन सी चैनल है ये? This is राजर्षि नंदी's own channel, राजर्षि नंदी.
state decides that it wants to put you in jail, it'll try and do everything it can within its power. So the public reaction to what he said when the video came out is justified. The backlash is justified. People unfollowing is justified. But putting him in jail for a bad joke, that must be the biggest dark comedy that is there in Kali Yuga.
Oof.
And that
See everything he just said. Again, all of this is pure libertarian talking points. Okay. Yeah. Lighter is saying your subscriber count came down from 14.4k to 14.3k. Yeah. And I lost about 15 subscribers from today morning because of pointing out some commies saying insane things. Dumb fuck right-wingers couldn't understand that I was pointing out, I was highlighting, see how stupid their arguments are. Gandu log ne socha ki I was endorsing it. And some of them actually got pissed off with me for pointing out what Amna Ansari Begum said. At least pointed out. And I was at least pointing it out. Usse bhi itna gussa ho ke unsubscribe kar di. But still, unsubscribing is better than calling for my assassination. So, theek hai. And VXP is saying I had unsubscribed Jaipur Dialogues because of this issue. Yeah, me too. But I saw Sanjay Dixit has a better understanding of the issue, so still unsubbed. But forgive, don't forget. That's all. What better understanding? Jaipur Dialogues themselves were going on hounding and setting the dogs on him on Twitter, and then sharing that horseshit picture of a fat, unfit police woman with a baby on her and calling it a powerful image, because that's what the entire BJP IT cell was doing that day.
that shows that the rot in this country is far deeper, whatever nonsense it is.
wow, that's a lot of truth. That's a lot of information. Lots of.
Because when the state decides that it wants to put you in jail, it'll try and do everything.
भाई स्टेट भी बोलते हैं. अब ये आध्यात्मिकता के रेल में है भी नहीं, ये अब टेम्पोरल रेल में आ गया है. लिबर्टेरियनिज्म का बात हो रहा है. POV of other countries talking about right to offend. हाँ, तो तब कहा गया था ये सब ज्ञान, तो तब मार्चिंग ऑर्डर्स नहीं आया था. अब अलाउ किया है शायद. He wants to cozy up with them. तो वही मैं बोल रहा था ना कि जब YouTube का दूरदर्शनिफिकेशन होगा, ये लोग राजा बनने पे तुले हुए हैं, इसलिए ये सब बोल रहे होंगे, और कोई एक्सप्लेनेशन तो नहीं है.
Tomorrow they'll come after you, tomorrow they can come after anybody. Because when the state decides that it wants to put you in jail, it'll try and do everything it can within its power. So the public reaction to what he said when the video came out is justified. The backlash is justified. People unfollowing is justified. But putting him in jail for a bad joke, that must be the biggest dark comedy that is there in Kali Yuga. And that shows that the rot in this country is far deeper, whatever nonsense it is.
देखो, हाँ, किसको पता है हाँ, पर वो assassination वालों को पता है क्या ज्यादा कि रॉट है कि नहीं? रियल इंडिया लिव्स इन द विलेजेस. रॉट रॉट नहीं है तो चलो कॉमेडियन को डालो जेल में.
Wow, that's a lot of truth. That's a lot of information, lots of advice, sir, to digest.
No, it's good. I wanted to have these conversations,
Anything
and
that you would like to add that I've missed out?
no, I think we kind of covered everything.
Yes.
But the whole point is that focus on self-development, focus on the deities, develop. The key thing is that you develop a greater contact with Bhairava, because he is the one who's going to, if you the more you do sadhana, he is going to remove your karmas slowly and make you more steadier in your mind and heart. And he's a deity is somebody who doesn't give up, who doesn't leave your hand even after your death. If your friends will go, your wife, your children, your father, mother, everybody can go, and social media influencers, they definitely can go, but a deity doesn't go. That is the whole point of sadhana. You reach a point of contact with the deity, your love for the deity becomes so intense, and the deity's love for you becomes so intense that even if the world ditches you, he or she is not going to leave you. That is the true essence of the spiritual path. That's
Thank
all.
you, sir. Thank you for just sharing these information. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And Joy Mata Ra.
Jai Matara, Jai Bharat Baba, Jai Maa Kamakya. Namaste.
Jai Mata Makya.
Okay, now we will get to Ranveer's podcast. And unfortunately, great questions one after the other are coming, but today is not an audience interaction live stream, so I won't be able to take any of them at all, except some which are very, very significant. Svedvan, call for violence is call for violence. Zubair is not a comedian.
Rebirth with Rajarshi Nandi. Thank you for being back on TRS, sir.
Yes.
I don't know where to begin this podcast. Thanks for guiding me through this phase, which was predestined in my eyes. Welcome back.
We start with taking the names of the deities. Jai Maa Kamakya, Jai Matara, Jai Bharat Baba.
I mean, the show is now rebooted, and I think people tune into especially these episodes to just seek deeper conversation.
Right.
But I definitely feel that my spiritual practice went way deeper in these last 2 months because there was so much excess energy, tension, stress, fear for my family's safety.
Right.
All of these things poured themselves into the practice. And before all
कॉल फॉर असैसिनेशन करके अभी भी जेल नहीं हुआ है लोगों का. कॉल फॉर वायलेंस है जो कि, और फिर नॉट जस्ट ऑन हिम, इट्स एंडेड अप ऑन हिज फैमिली एज वेल, हु आर हिज सिस्टर, his father, his mother, all three of them are significant doctors. अब डॉक्टर्स को मार देते हैं क्योंकि उसके बेटे ने एक गलत जोक बोल दिया. इनसे हम सीखेंगे इंडियन कल्चर. भोसड़ी के.
this happened, I was very, very exhausted with work because we were shooting every day. I remember calling you countless times and I don't have energy. I got all the energy in the world, and the deities did what they had to do.
In the final equation, yes. So in the final equation, the whole bottom line gist of devotion to the devata, to the ishta devata, to the deity you worship, is to believe that everything, whether they're directly instrumental or not, regardless of that, without analyzing ki jo acha ho raha hai, jo bura ho raha hai, everything is by their will. If you have faith on them, they can change day to night. They do it because sometimes they do it not in the sense that they actually do anything. It's because it's an attitude of an upasaka. You look at all things that happen in your life, whatever, good or bad, and put it at the feet of Bhairava. Let him guide you. Let him guide the upasaka. Let him take that person upwards, make him stronger. Because the whole purpose of the human birth, and if I take a broad philosophical view, is because we call in the Shastras, we call this as the Mrityu Loka, the plane of death. It is everybody who's born here, leaving aside the avatars of Vishnu, Bhagavan Vishnu.
No, Varun Dev, they have been doing it for a few months now. They went for this. Anytime Rajarshi Nandi has come, even before the controversy, they've only worn black, both of them, or white, both of them. They're trying a bit of a different aesthetics, even with their thumbnails. Because everyone, the entire podcast industry of India copied his thumbnail design. So now he's doing different thumbnails as well.
Pretty much everybody will make some of the other mistakes. It is natural. It's human.
Rohit Rana, I have seen Sahibs who never left, but I won't be doing a live reaction on it because it's kind of common knowledge on the right wing now. And if leftists need to watch it, it shouldn't be through me showing them that entire movie. It would be a little very, very unfair on the makers of it. There are other ways to make it reach leftists.
To make mistakes, but what is important in the way that the devatas look at it, they don't care so much about the mistakes. If you rectify and if you are ready to put in that effort, then they can open up infinite number of things for you, take you to places that you could not even imagine were possible. I remember from my own life, years ago, maybe 2000, that was 2012-13, I passed through a phase of crisis for some period of time. My sadhana, just I had come back from Kamakhya. In 1 year I had gone to Kamakhya at least, I think 7-8 times, something like that. And I came back and I figured suddenly that some things have happened in my personal life because of which I suddenly found myself without a single friend.
Srijan, on the CR Park issue, there has been sort of an explanation that came later on, which was shared by some BJP people. And some Bengalis, in fact, clarified that no, it was a completely made up lie, made up video, probably another female famous Trinamool politician who just got into a controversy on that very day from Kullan Banerjee. Maybe she was trying to distract attention away because this has been her pet theory forever, that all of India hates Bengalis just because they eat meat. There's no other reasons. हम मच्छी खाते हैं, देखो ना लोग कितना गाली देते हैं हमें. So she was trying to play that up probably.
And sort of booted out of the city of Mumbai. I had to leave hastily, look for a job. I shifted to Pune after that for some period of time. It was a stressful period. I won't go into details. Now when I look back, the details are irrelevant. But what it did was that the sadhana became far more deeper. Much more deeper, your contact with the deity. Sometimes Sri Aurobindo used to say, pain is a way by which God makes you remember him. Okay, because in happiness, nobody remembers. It's all going smooth. It's only when the deity is, in fact, look at it this way. If the Ishtadevata is giving you pain, that means he or she wants you to go higher. If he doesn't want you to go higher, he'll give you a lot of riches and all that. Stay happy where you are, and next life you come down. Okay, the cycle goes on. It's not an end. The important thing is have a conscious cognition of what was a mistake and how do I get out of that mistake. This whole sense that my sadhana will become deeper. This is the right attitude, and not just for you, me, anybody. We will make mistakes. When time comes, you go back first and foremost. Above all else, you go back to the deity. Above all else, he or she wills it, everything becomes okay. He or she sometimes needs to teach a lesson, and when the lesson has to be taught, it will be taught in the right manner, but without going into details of it. It is not about a specific incident. This is the pattern of life, human life. There is
what Shayokra is pointing out here, and more importantly, Shayok, no one committed suicide because of that joke, whereas every other day someone in some university or college is committing a joke because of what's happening to them inside.
No being in the whole world who has not suffered. It's impossible not to suffer. You are born, you will suffer. There is no doubt about that. I mean, in the Ramayana, we find that Lord Rama, who's like the avatar of Vishnu, when he's in I'm talking about the Valmiki Ramayana, when he's searching for Ma Sita, there is a particular phase where he's feeling that stress because she's not there. So even he can feel stress. So what about us? Everybody will feel stress. You are born, you will feel stress. Important thing is to have that cognition, okay, I have made a mistake, I'll recover from it. And first and foremost,
okay, let me tie things together and piss everyone off, and let's lose some more subscribers today. Chalo, kar hi lete hain. So what he just said, first of all, in the previous video, he was going full libertarian. In this video, what he just said, that if the deities want you to stay where you are, they will give you all the comfort. If they want you to go higher up, they will give you some suffering, stress and stuff. Andrew Tate has this famous quote in his speeches and stuff that would you rather be an insignificant person and die without any stress, or be a very, very significant person and have stress? And he points out that Genghis Khan was probably stressed. He had so many places to run. His messengers are returning, whether or not they're returning or not, what news will they bring and stuff. And he goes on to give many examples and stuff. So who's not going to have stress?
Of all people, of all things, only the being to which you need to apologize first and foremost is to the Devata. Bas, I made a mistake, you confess and you apologize. And then you see that's what I tell everybody, that you're, as an upasaka, you start thinking like an upasaka. everything you put at the feet of the deity, everything you put at the feet of wherever, and he will pull you out from everything. He will teach you what needs to be taught, and then he will take you even higher. The good he will give, the bad he will give. And this sense, when it comes internally inside, deep inside, that becomes a like of oneness. You see that everything is his doing. He has become everything. Even a man like Sri Aurobindo, about whom I keep speaking so much, there's a beautiful episode in his life. He was a revolutionary, British time and all that. And then the British put a case on him and put him in jail. Okay, and whatever it is, again, the specifics are irrelevant in my opinion. They put him in jail, and he was put in solitary confinement for months, 7, 8, 9 months. Okay, solitary confinement. Can you imagine? It's the toughest of all things. All it took was the Gita. Okay, full dark inside the room, in one room, no seeing the face of a person, nothing. Doesn't even know when he will come out. His family, his wife, his others, well-wishers, brothers, they went everywhere asking how can this come out, etc. In that phase of confinement, Aurobindo Ghosh, the revolutionary, changed into Sri Aurobindo, the spiritual figure that we revere and worship and love so much today. Because in that phase of darkness, that phase of confinement, he changed himself. His sadhana went from an ordinary level to an extraordinary level. To the extent, he was an exceptional man. We can't become like him. He reached a stage where he saw that everything around him was Krishna. He was a Krishna devotee at that time. Everything. The jail was Krishna. The bars were Krishna. The jailer was Krishna. And then at one point, he was even trying to... there was a lawyer who came to help him. There was a very good lawyer, one of the best lawyers of this time, to help his case. And there was still the human mind, that effort. So he's like trying to sit with the lawyer and find out which is the right legal angle to present and all that to the court. And then he gets in his meditation, Krishna telling him, no, you don't even think about that. All you do is you focus on me, the deity. So he gave up that also. And then when they went to the judge, they saw that it's a very interesting thing. The judge, the British judge who was there, he knew about Sri Aurobindo because he had passed out from the same college in London. And he had heard of Aurobindo as a very brilliant student. So the judge was a scholar of Sanskrit. Sri Aurobindo had studied various Western literatures and philosophy. He was very good with that.
Yeah.
And Sri Aurobindo didn't say a single word. He just stood there. And then he was let go. And from that point onwards, he moved to Pondicherry and changed. The whole gist of what I'm trying to say is that there are moments of crisis that happen to people. And in that crisis, if you're an upasaka, take it as a gift from God. It reduces your karma. And it helps you grow faster and stronger and better upasaka. That is the whole aim. Nothing stops. There is no end to anything. Dark and good and bad will anyway happen. Even if you don't do sadhana, then also people someday will be bad, someday will be good. We know that famous story of Lord Buddha when a woman came and asked him that my son has died. Can you bring him back to life? You say that you are the great enlightened being. So
my mom told me this story to console me when the first pet I ever had, a little kitten, died after staying with us for a few days, and I was already devastated. I was very, very young.
Lord Buddha said that I can, but you do one thing, find me one house, give me one morsel of rice from a house where there has never been a death, and then I will do it. It's none. So everybody will suffer someday or the other. In what consciousness you suffer, your consciousness, how it processes that suffering, that pain, and transcends itself into something higher, better, more devoted, more focused on the deity, more surrendered to the deity. That's all the lesson that one has to learn. And he and Bhairava has the ability to change everything. He is Para Bhairava, is everything. Good, bad, day, night, everything.
So many things to say. Let's begin this next chapter with a sorry, Bhairav Baba.
Yes.
And move forward. That's the main sorry.
That's the primary thing. For an upasaka, eventually, it's the deity, it's the devata jinko aap poochte ho, the deity you are worshipping. He or she becomes everything.
Let's talk about life.
Yes.
As is the case with every episode that we do, there's got to be takeaways even beyond the spiritual realm for the audiences from our episodes.
Right.
You used to always tell me on a brotherly level that every human has a need for protection. And I never understood that. And I completely understand that now. I will let you talk about this aspect of protection in the course of the human journey in whatever way you deem fit.
Yeah. From the time I became famous, which was completely unplanned, and neither had I any specific desire for fame, by the way. When almost pretty much everybody who knew me, the people without agenda, there are some alag baat hai, but most of them I had no specific desire for fame. Things just happened very coincidentally and shot me up to fame. And then I realized that there are some interesting things with respect to fame. One of them is that you, even if suppose the things that I speak, my perception over the 3 years now is that good 80 to 90% of the people have a very positive outlook towards it and take it very positively, and it affects them in a positive manner.
You're saying audiences?
Audiences, okay. Whether I'm speaking in your show or anywhere else, and it causes a sin. 85 to 90% is a very, very positive response. And it is entirely because of the blessings of Ma Kamakhya, Matara, and Bhairav Baba that they do the sadhanas with faith and they see so many positive results. I mean, I could write books after books about it. I mean, I have 2 email IDs and there's a whole team. All they do is day in and day out keep processing the mails. Okay, so stories and miraculous things happening. Somehow, some people think that I am doing nothing. My role is very limited. What came to me organically is the inspiration to speak. I spoke, and the deities did whatever. They use instruments, they get things done. But there is a 10% people.
Instrument, yantra. Okay, let's take some questions now. Afin is saying that person eats meat only on Bali. Even Shaktas eat meat only on Bali days, not every day, like this Bharatiya Bhodors want you to believe. Yes. अष्टमी पे एक रील हो गया इंस्टाग्राम में और बायो में लिख देंगे या फिर कोई कैप्शन में लिख देंगे इवन आई एम अ प्रैक्टिसिंग हिंदू एंड आई एम अगेंस्ट सीए और दिस हिंदुत्व प्रोजेक्ट और दैट हिंदुत्व प्रोजेक्ट again the same mistake that Ranveer did, playing up their religiosity, even if making a reel on Ashtami is an action of example of religiosity. Okay, maybe Ashtami Anjali, okay, and somehow your religiosity, whatever the degree, is supposed to make your argument better or worse. Okay, is Rajarshi Nandi a great predictor? No idea. What was Lighter going on saying, asking on about British? Had Britishers not shifted the capital from Kolkata, would Bengali be most spoken language in India? Probably, but it would have to accommodate Muslims a lot more, so it would be even more maybe that Bangladeshi kind of Bengali perhaps, or if it went farther away from Sanskrit, then a lot of other people would. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it would be a fun thought experiment. Yes. VXT is asking a tough question. Isn't that just a cope to say if you're suffering, it's for your own good? God works in mysterious ways argument. Yeah, actually, VXT, unfortunately, both are true. It might be a cope for some. It might be a reality for some that, in fact, this suffering is directly leading them to a better situation. But the other side is also totally true that people who are in so comfortable a situation will not really progress, because after all, conflicts and their resolutions lead you to something further. And so without and most importantly, thinking this way, the benefits of thinking this way, that yes, this stress is for that greater good for me in the long run, that solves everything. So all of it is true. All the possibilities are true here. Let's continue. Let's continue.
Who will be extremely jealous of you. That is the way, that is the one they get things done. But there is a 10% people who will be extremely jealous of you. That is the way, that is the one key factor of somebody who comes in the public eye, and is always going to happen. And 10% is because I'm lucky in the sense that it is not so heavy. For other people, it could be more than 10, 20, 30%. In my case, or in some other cases also, these 10%, so 10% is a significant number when you are a public figure, kind of. Public figure, I mean that a lot of people know you across the land. Okay. And there will be a tremendous amount of jealousy, hate, envy. These are the three spaces from this comes. All this rest are just excuses. These are the real motivating emotions that bring it to them. Some of them may even be unstable emotionally, or the jealousy, because these things are jealousy, or these are emotions, negative emotions basically. So a person suffering from some kind of
so leftists simply suffer from a negative emotion.
A little emotionally unstable, whose mind is not in grip of his or her emotions, and feels a certain degree of envy, may go to any extent to cause you harm. So that is where we have, and these are things from the texts only. I'm saying nothing that I've invented. I never speak anything that is outside the texts. So there are things where they may try to do things like black magic, avichara, etc. You won't even know. Your face is everywhere. They can take a photo and start doing it. So these things are real. These things happen.
languages evolve, and some greats don't really have a problem with languages evolving. A case in point would be, it was Ramprasad Sen's Shama Sangit, right? Where that lyric said that কোন অভিচারে করলে ডিক্রি জারি decree. Back then the British government used to randomly declare decrees for different things. So a devout Kali Bhakta writing a song asking Ma Kali that what abhichara did I do that you gave me this decree.
And specifically, it happens the more you become famous. If destiny has made you famous and given you a purpose, then you follow the purpose, because destiny knows best why it has given you. It is not about your will or anything. It's about the will of the gods. They want you at a certain position, they have put you. But also be practical so that you take enough precautions that these things cannot cause you harm eventually. So from my perspective, I have at least 5-10% very strong enemies, and people close to me, they're well aware of those. So they are a little, the screw is off in their head, so they can go to any extent, I know. And they try also, it's there. But entirely blessings of Bhairava Baba and blessings of Matara specifically, and Ma Kamakhya, that they keep me protected. And it is important to do some practices that help you to protect yourself,
which is called kavacham.
Kavacham is one part. It depends on the degree of perception of threat that you have.
What is kavacham?
Kavacham is an armor, spiritual armor. Every deity has a kavacham. Okay, so once you read the kavacham, it forms like an aura around you. It protects you from any negative, whether it's a negative being or negative individual or negative thoughts. See, negative.
Lighter. First of all, I don't need to give any apologia for any of these concepts, but I would invite you to think of everything here as an atheist only, as concepts. Don't think of Bhairava Baba as a random thing floating around in the sky with his teeth out. Don't make that mistake. Then you won't get any of it. Then not only will you not get any of it, you will miss out on a lot of beautiful things. Consider it at least. Consider all of this as concepts, and consider the deities as concepts. See where that takes your thoughts. For that, you'll have to understand about, of course, what are the main characteristics of Bhairava, what are the features, what entails Bhairava. Do a bit of reading or research on that, and then put everything in that concept framework, okay? And then everything will make too much of sense.
Thoughts also affect. You don't have to actually sit and do rituals. If 10-15 people really hate you and they constantly think that, okay, let him fall, something bad happens to him, let something bad happens to him, the accumulated thought force also is going to cause some impact on your life.
Nazar, what
we call it.
And yeah, Lighter, just to add a little, and imagine or consider that regardless of what worshipping a deity might mean today, I believe most Hindus are Christians in general. They just don't know it. Just like Trinamool supporters don't know they are socialists. So in that same way, praising, stuti kora, praising a concept, what if that's equal to worshipping a concept or worshipping a deity?
Which we already know for it's a.
And also remember, keeping certain things in mind, pondering over something, contemplating on something repeatedly, that takes you somewhere. Remember those concepts. Keep these as part of your frameworks inside which you will consider Bhairava or deities, okay? And then read upon them.
It's a common human knowledge, and this idea of nazar is not something that only Indians and Hindus have discovered. It's there across the world, right? The evil eye or whatever you call it. So it's a common lived experience of humanity. So therefore, whenever a person becomes very famous, and specifically you are also, the other part is that you're also involved in some kind of, knowingly or unknowingly, some kind of activity that is helping dharma. For example, suppose people are doing Bhairavanama, okay? Whether you consciously did anything or not is irrelevant. That so many people are getting attracted, they're having a positive experience, they're doing lakhs of japa. Every Ashtami Tithi, some sadhanas are going on specifically for Bhairava, as well as other deities and different tithis. So you are consciously or unconsciously becoming an instrument of the gods for establishing some dharma in this world. Immediately there will also be some opposition from the negative forces. And negative forces did not suddenly, it's not like those mythological stories, they'll just appear in front of you, do something. They have the capacity to change the minds of people and cause them to attack you in some way or the other. In order to protect oneself, therefore, Kavacham is the first step. There are many other degrees of protection required. when I was traveling all this while for the Bhairava establishment of the Bhairava temples, looking at lands and all that, last 5-6 months have been very hectic for me. I hardly get time to spend at home. From Gujarat to South India to Tarapet and other places, etc. I met one sadhu in South India. It's very nice. It's I felt that he's a sannyasi, but he was very very interesting thing he said. So he was very positive and supportive. He said that the army of Bhairava needs to be built up in this country, and there has to be temples. And he says, and then he made a very beautiful statement. I liked it very much. He said that, so don't ever think that you are important. Bhairava has many people like this. If you fail, he will put somebody else to do it. The job will be done. When it is his will that has said that it will be done, he has decided it will be done. Instruments are, an instrument is an instrument. You do it in that sense. And as long as the surrenderance is there, as long as this effort is there, as long as the strength is there, mental clarity is there, his support will always be there. So I really liked speaking to that sadhu. And he's a sannyasi, he's completely given up life and other things. I found a very positive statement from him, and he could sense some things. He could sense, even before meeting me, he told me a few things, and then he said that this is the will of Bhairava. It is going to happen. Nobody in the world can stop this. You are an instrument he has chosen because of Purvajanma samskaras, things you have done in your past life. But remember that he has many instruments. He will use whoever he needs to use to whatever degree. It is his will, and those 8 temples of Baba are going to come up, and they will become the foundation of Dharma for a very long time. Very long time.
You have locations in mind?
Some locations at this moment, though. We are looking at some places in Tarapet in Bengal, and also south we have some locations. There's a team going there. Gujarat, we want to have, if possible, depending on other things and all that. The area around Girnar Parvat is very holy. It's beautiful. It's amazing.
The one thing I want to say is that this is mission number 1 for me also.
Yes.
To help you with this process. So let's say this publicly, that we'll attach some kind of a link down below under this podcast where anyone who wants to contribute to this cause can help us out. Maybe drop your contact details.
Yes.
And this project has already begun.
It's already begun. We are at the stage where architects, some people are helping us in designing. So I've given them some inputs that how exactly I want it, what are the number of deities that will be there, forms of Bhairava, and that's how that space should look, whether from the Vastu perspective or the placement of the Devatas, the Yagyashala there should be where homas can be done to the deities. There should be, if possible, there should be a water body, there should be this meditation space, things like that. So eventually there should be a Goshala because you'll need milk and ghee and other things for the Abhishekam of the deities, things like that. So the architects are working on this. Once the model is out, I will be putting up in public, of course, and I will, of course, have to make an appeal for funds because this is a huge project and it cannot be done without the support of people.
This episode is almost done with.
Yes.
One last section. What do you want me to learn from this chapter? Since
I deal more with whatever I speak or whatever I deal is mostly from the spiritual perspective. So I'm talking to people who do sadhana because they are the ones who get attracted to these podcasts or any other things we do. So remember one thing, that life will have troubles or the other, sometime or the other. It's impossible that you will never have troubles. I mean, even if you do something like as I say, North India, the Hanuman Chalisa is so popular. There is nobody perhaps who doesn't do the Hanuman Chalisa. You do for years and years. Can you show me one individual who says that I have never ever faced any difficulty, whether it's health issue, job issue, marriage, relationship, money, something, strange things? It is going to happen because this is a part of this. We have done things. The deities are not going to make your life completely without any kind of issues ever. That is not why this earth was created. This earth was created so that you go through the processes. You go through the night and you go through the day, and the night will make you stronger. The pain will make you reinvent yourself because the human condition is not perfect. So our aim.
This is why Nietzsche said that there's more philosophy in the human body than in any philosophy book in the world. Because think of muscles. What doesn't make you kill you stronger? That philosophy is the very basis of muscle building. Every day you work out, you get some muscle damage. But if you work out so much that you tear your muscle or break your bones or let's say simply screw up your joints and stuff, then it doesn't get you anywhere. But if you work out enough to just damage your muscles a little to some degree, then that muscle rebuilds itself way more because now your body knows that, okay, this was what we thought were the goals of this guy. We gave him muscles to do just these amounts of things. Now he's trying to do this. Let's give him more muscles to do this. So what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That's what's being talked about here. Jatha pinde tatha brahmande.
And the night will make you stronger. The pain will make you reinvent yourself because the human condition is not perfect. So our aim through sadhana is that we become closer and closer to the deity. In order to become closer to the deity, we have to shed ourselves things that we don't need, change our consciousness, change the thinking process. And that automatically will reflect in the depth of sadhana. When you are enjoying the sadhana,
if you don't shed class 9, how will you go to shed? How will you go to or promote yourself to class 10?
That automatically will reflect in the depth of sadhana. When you are enjoying the sadhana, when your sadhana is going good, automatically there is a blessing, and they will, when they decide, when the gods decide ki chalo bhi bahut ho gaya, we need to put this person in a higher pedestal in sadhana, they are going to cause some pain so that you go even higher. Indirectly, there's not that they're going to come and cause anything like that. And this is a thing every upasaka in some point of the life or the other will feel. If you have not felt this ever, that means perhaps the deity is not even, this is not your lifetime for it. I give this advice to people whom I guide very closely. I have a group of people, who help me out in my day-to-day this foundation activities and other things. So I tell them that there is this movie I like. This I'd seen long back, Fight Club. I remember that movie, and there's a specific scene in that movie where there are two people who are fighting, and there's one stronger guy who throws the younger guy down, the weaker guy, and keeps hitting him. And the guy, it's of course painful, but starts laughing. After some time, this guy who's stronger, he gets psyched out. What is happening? Why is he not, getting down? Why is he not finished yet? And why is he laughing at this? I find this very peculiar and very interesting scene. So I tell people that life, and whole life is sadhana, by the way. Once you broaden your mind, you see that every smallest of activities is sadhana. Take that attitude of the fighter who says that I am never going to, you can throw me down, but I am never going to get out of the ring. Okay. There is not one chance when I will not get back up again.
Fight Club references in our discussion about Bhairava. Bhai, this is why. Bengali Renaissance is right around the corner. If only just some things happen. We have a Sanjeev Sanyal, we have Rajarshi Nandi.
And still fight. Once you remove completely the question of that I'm going to quit, remove that from the mind. Say that doesn't matter how long it takes, 1 lifetime, 2 lifetime, 3 lifetime. Remove the whole point of agenda of time frame that I need to get it. No, forget the time frame. That is nature's job. That is the job of Mahakal Baba. Nature, he's the only one who knows what time. And your job is that I will give my 110% to the work. Even if I fall down, doesn't matter. Even if I get hit, doesn't matter. I'm in the ring like a battlefield. Even the best of warriors will get hit sometime or the other, because that is the nature of the sport. But that spirit, the spirit never, every time I fall down, I'll start up and fight again. Fight. Then you will see Bhairava, how he loves. Then you will see Ma Kali, how she loves. She loves fighters. She loves people who can fight. That is why we call her the mother of the Veeras. The whole point of Veera means it is not that you will not get hit. You will take a hit, you will absorb it, it will not corrupt your soul.
Famous, legendary dialogue of Sylvester Stallone from Rocky 5. It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
It will not bring you down into bitterness and jealousy about life, or bitterness. Some people souls are like this. They can't take the pain and it turns into bitterness about it. No, it's an opportunity for you to rise even higher. She hits you so that you can come higher. Those people, nobody can take success away from them. Nature guarantees success to a person who says that I'm not going to quit.
I'm really trying to hold back from saying this, but I have to say it. Pandya mentality. But let's move forward.
In life, there will be stresses. There will be difficult times. But don't imagine that you cannot get out of the difficult time. More importantly, each difficult time is a test of a commitment to the deity. The stronger the commitment, the stronger you'll be pulled out of it. Do not, if you are scared, if you have this, some people have this out of the difficult time. More in life,
In this, but I have to say it. Pandya mentality. But let's move forward.
In life, there will be stresses. There will be difficult times. But don't imagine that you cannot get out of the difficult time. More importantly, each difficult time is a test of a commitment to the deity. The stronger the commitment, the stronger you will be pulled out of it. Do not, if you are too scared, if you have this, some people have this fearful mentality initially when they're doing sadhana, कि मेरा कुछ खराब हो गया, etc. हो गया. अगर इतना डर लगता है तो तुमसे नहीं हो पाएगा. The world, even if you don't do sadhana, someday or the other, some bad thing will happen. It is the way of the world is. But every difficulty is an opportunity to deepen your contact with the deity. And that itself is the most fulfilling thing. The ultimate aim of sadhana is that you feel blissful inside. You feel contact with the deity at all times. Doesn't matter what is going to happen. There are so many great saints we know of, different sampradayas. Vaishnava saints, worshipper of Shiva, worshipper of Durga, Ma Durga, anybody passed through such difficult times. But what is common among them is that the consciousness becomes so tuned to the deity that they don't care about the outside. Inside, you are in a state of bliss. You're in a state of contact. So this itself should be looked at as a lesson for people, that you, whenever difficulties come, you increase your sadhana. That is the rule number 1. Difficulty means increase your sadhana. It's at the end of the day, your own karma is burning off. And your karma is burning off, your path will become smoother the more sadhana you do.
what's next for the show in your eyes? Like, again, as I told you, in this whole phase, I've only been recording with people who I have an actual human relationship with.
Yeah.
You guys are responsible for the growth of this show as much as I am, in my eyes. What would you like to see next?
You should look at it as something that, let's create something that is of value to society, not just for now, for years and years and decades, because the internet is not going anywhere. Once you put out something on the internet, it's going to last. This is the reality of modern world and going ahead also.
VXT. Yes, bro. Why are we repeatedly seeing that whatever Rajarshi sir is saying applies to libertarianism, economics, business, workout, which is why our culture is called Sanatan. Our philosophy is called Sanatan. Our way of looking at life is Sanatan. Because it's goddamn eternal. These answers are eternal. The way we look at things are eternal. And like Savarkar said, the philosophy is eternal. Acharas don't have to be eternal. If you think it's eternal, it's eternal for you, yeah, go on with it. And again, Jatha Pinde Tata Brahmande. Hence, it's going on applying to everything else, every field. And maybe that's why Artha means both meaning and wealth. It's so intricately connected to each other.
Also, so you look at it as, how do I create something of value, something that is so pure, as an offering to the deities, as an offering to the, you know, to the spiritual journey that you are in, to dharma, in that sense, to Bhairava. Let's be very clear, as an offering to Lord Bhairava, that it is a value even long time later, when neither you nor me are there, but still people will see that and get inspired. And that is going to happen. In order to do that, in order to purify oneself, they will do what needs to be done. You look at yourself and the show as an instrument of awakening certain spiritual tendencies and spiritual practices among people.
He has
There's
already
nothing
done that.
greater than that.
Yeah. Okay. Jai Bhairav Baba.
Jai Bhairav Baba. Jai Bhairav.
Jai Ma Kamakhya.
Jai Ma Kamakhya.
Jai
Jai Matara.
Thank you. Rebirth begins now.
Rebirth. Correct.
Thank you, sir.
This Bhairav Mandir he's going to build, it's going to come up in Tarapit, but it's so late. I desperately require a Bhairav Mandir with a proper Bhairav idol murti inside the temple for my upcoming music video. There seem to be none in Bengal. We are right now pondering, we are contemplating this idea. We are thinking that we will probably make one for the scenes of the video. By the way, guys, I have not announced it as of yet. I will have to do a crowdfunding thing, because this video needs to be very, very big, significant. This piece of work needs to be very, very big, significant, and has to reach a certain mark, which I can't afford personally. Some of the budget I've already managed. It needs to be a certain amount. For that, I will crowdfund. I will post the links and stuff. Those who will donate will be the only ones who will know the concept, the script and stuff. What is the story, and how it will tie together a social issue with Bengal's culture, martial culture, local tradition, and Sanatan Dharma, as well as some things else as well. And I can't say more than that, but I have big plans for this project. We have done recce of many places already with our director and cinematographer, and our lead actress for the music video, and the rapper who joins us, our live chats every now and then, old boy in the town, best rapper in Kolkata. He'll be doing the rapping, and there will be my voice as well. It's going to be mainly Kal Bhairav Ashtakam, and it's going to be for a specific story. It's going to be weaved around a story and a concept. Yes, Rajarshi Nandi is Bengali. Savarkar called Hinduism. That question is not precise enough. He didn't say anything like Hinduism is this. But yeah, he said that our Sanatan Dharma is called Sanatan because of the way of looking at things. Those are Sanatan. Achara doesn't have to be Sanatan. Haltute Bhairav Mandir ache. Yeah, if in the kind of Bhairav Mandir I need requires at least some amount of আবার উঠোনের ইংলিশ ভুলে গেছি why do I keep forgetting the English for uthon? A bit of a courtyard, yes, a bit of a courtyard, a bit of an open space in front of the temple, and it should not be surrounded by buildings on all sides, which is the main problem with all the Bhairava temples inside Kolkata, especially Nakuleshwar Bhairav temple in Kalighat. Oh my god, what a absolutely ugly place it's now become, right? When it was created, it was probably a very beautiful place. So for those reasons, I'm having to eliminate many temples of my list. Bangladesh niye concept na. Lighter, yeah, actually all of them interchangeably. But Hinduism, who is a Hindu, that though his definition is very broad. But Hinduism though something else. In India, best podcaster Kushal Mehra is respected by 1 rupees Paytm. So what, you want to work him for free? Dada, what do you think of Rajarshi Nandi's views on caste? We can't know exactly. He will probably, my hunch is he will say that it's based on your actions right now and stuff. Although he does believe in transmigration, so he'll probably say that yeah, you are in this situation right now because of what you did in your past life, but right now what you are is going to be based on what your actions are right now. He did say something pretty controversial which would piss off a lot of trads at one about a year back. In one Facebook post, he said that Brahmins didn't do their duty properly, therefore things went to hell. Something akin to this he had mentioned. That is saying, no, I mean he's disrespected by people by sending him 1 rupees. How? People will donate whatever amount they can. Vikhyat, yes, the stream is about to end. Now, Vimash is saying, are there temples in Kolkata? Komi left any temples sacred? They might have worshipped marks in those. Temples are temples, and commies who want their children to get into good schools and stuff, all of them are pretty devout. And like Rajarshi Nandi was saying once long back on a podcast with whom? I think with Ranveer only, that many people who otherwise on the face of it pretend to be very progressive leftist or atheist and stuff, all of them come to him for many such people come to him for doing yagyas and all to defeat their opponents in elections. No, I don't know the joke. Avidya, okay. দাদা এই লোকেশনটা চেক করো, নদীর ধারে কালভৈরব টেম্পল ইন ঝাড়খণ্ড. That can't be in our budget because we are already, see, first of all we'll have to do crowdfund and then we'll meet our technicalities criteria, but that's all predicated on us doing it in Bengal and South Bengal and all. If we do it for Jharkhand, then the budget is going to just shoot up twice thrice, okay, because we'll have to take a big crew out of Bengal. Yeah, and VXT was asking who's doing the music and stuff. Wait, let me check his question exactly. Are you composing, producing, mixing all by yourself? Yeah, I'm doing everything. Only the rapper will do the rap. Everything else will be done by me. Animesh is saying it's not like Ranveer will ask why I had to run like this all of a sudden because even opposition leaders wanted his arrest. Okay, serious debate going on here. If two different caste people marry, what's that caste? Okay. Okay then. Thank you for joining the live stream, guys. See you soon. Right now, my brain is a little zoned out because of the depth of this conversation, so I can't remember what's my topic tomorrow. What markers would you like to see get hit in future for the Renaissance, and how do you think libertarian ideas would flourish in Bengal? Libertarian ideas can flourish in Bengal after a complete rock solid grasp on law and order, which can't be anytime soon. Probably not in my lifetime. Maybe when I'm 60, 70 years old. It's a complete ruckus of a situation. There's no semblance of law and order. And of course, the free market idea would be that you should not have to wait for things to get better to do capitalism. The only problem here is there are too many people who are not tolerant, and there can be no tolerance of the intolerant. So first we will have to handle the intolerant, and then we will do libertarianism. But of course, I won't be supporting freebies and stuff when Shubhendu does them. I will oppose them. I will show why they are harming things. But the priority is law and order. He'll probably do law and order as well as freebies, just like any other BJP leader, or at least like Yogi and stuff. So after law and order happens, after that we can think of libertarianism. But the problem is, I don't think law and order will be completely handled. There will be skirmishes from the intolerant every now and then. There can be no Joy College Bangla. Yes. Oyan Mondol is saying, should Brahmins boycott Manusmriti as it is way, way harder to them? Oyan Mondol, haven't Brahmins sneakily boycotted Manusmriti already? Otherwise, it would be the most significant text everywhere in everyone's houses. Okay. They realized, oh my God, some of our ancients and ancestors wrote this thing for us. This is impossible to follow. He हमसे ना हो पाएगा, हम चले. मनुस्मृति आपको मुबारक, हमको माफ कीजिए. Freebies का POV is that is the only way to win. Yes. So if you want to do better for the society, does the end justify the means? Right now, yes. Which is why I have some semblance of support for BJP, because they are closest to what I want for the country. So they have to come to power. They have to come to power by handling elections, managing elections, and doing freebies. So क्या करे? But opposition भी चलना चाहिए. Feasible नहीं है बोल के हम चुप बैठे जाए. हम जैसे लोग जो कि supporters है more or less, वो चुप बैठेंगे तो कैसे होगा? So that at least the conversation is furthered, at least the discourse changes people's minds. The changing people's minds is the main game. The other members considered already crowdfunded. No, I will do a separate crowdfunding thing in websites like GoFundMe and all, where I will specifically mention that, see, this amount of donation gets you this amount of things. Like maybe some of you all will get to know the script, some of you all won't get to know the script. Maybe some of you all will be invited to some things, maybe not physically, of course, maybe separate links for the first screening and stuff. Something I will think up later on. By the way, explain some Hindutva triad who support anti-casteism but are against Brahmin. How much of funding are you looking for? 1 lakh, and 30 has been managed so far. Taxpayers aren't really the target of audience of previous years. What are you talking about, Phil? No, my next music video project. Gravity, I will of course talk about this later on as well, but if you want some clarity on it right now, do rewind a little. Anything else to check out here? What's the time? It's 1:45. Will BJP come in 2026? I think so. Okay then. Thank you for joining the live stream, guys. Good night. Bye bye.
যদি সবাই ফিরে যায়, ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা সবাই ফিরে যায়, যদি গহন পথে যাওয়ার কালে কেউ ফিরে চরণ তলে একলা দলরে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে যদি আলো না ধরে ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা আলো না ধরে যদি ঝড় বাদলে আধার রাতে দুয়ার দেয় ঘরে তবে বজ্রানলে আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা চলো রে আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা চলো রে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো